Well, I'm wondering if you've noticed a little pattern that I've been noticing recently. Maybe it's just the circles I've been moving in, but I've been hearing more and more people talking about frequency healing or even terming it as frequency medicine. So I was kind of curious, is this really something, or is it just another kind of woo-woo concept that's being thrown around in areas that might even be dangerous? Well, I'd like to share a few thoughts on what I've discovered about this. My name is Katie Dean, and I am the creator of the Colourland system, which is actually here to support people in reconnecting to their true self, to their optimal blueprints, from which you get to experience more of the life that you actually desire. And this idea of frequency medicine is not new at all. We can think about sound healing, which, is not mainstream, but it has been used for quite some time now, and it is actually beginning to flow gradually more and more into the mainstream. Now, sound is a frequency, it's a very obvious frequency. So we know about frequency of sound, we also have frequency of light. And again, we're surrounded by this. This is what is actually making up our world. So in one sense, it makes a lot of sense that we could be using frequency to manipulate our experience and our reality. And that's essentially what the people talking about this are claiming to be doing. But we can take this in two directions. So we can look at it through the lens of physics and study frequency that way. We can take it to what seems like a polar opposite and look at it through a more spiritual lens. And through one lens, we're getting into this quite intellectual, maybe scary, heavy feeling territory. Through the other lens, we're going into something that's quite ephemeral, doesn't seem to have a lot of substance or meaning to it, and may actually be termed woo-woo. So my question that I want to explore today is, where is the middle ground? Is there even a middle ground? And I would say I believe there is. And I think more than that, we're actually just using frequency in our day-to-day lives, but we don't call it that. So we don't really think twice about it. So I'd like to explore that analogy and try and make the case that maybe this idea of frequency healing is not as weird and out there as it might at first seem. So the analogy I want to present is, you can actually look at it in two ways. If you are an older generation, and I count myself in that, I grew up pre-internet, certainly pre-mobile phones, Wi-Fi, all of that. I grew up with television sets, and I'm not old enough to remember when they first came on the market, but when they did, they seemed like magic. I mean, how could it be that you could have this box in the middle of your living room in your home, and it was showing you pictures and sounds that had actually been created or were being created live in a completely different locality. So maybe even in a different country, maybe even in a different time zone. And that connection is actually frequency. Because what frequency is a way of carrying information. So information that we see in pictures and information that we see or hear in sounds. So that is frequency of light and frequency of sound. And yes, at first when people were watching this, they were kind of peering behind the box, and were these actors actually somehow secretly hiding in their living room or underneath this magic box? And it did all seem very magical, but it's actually very physics-based. Now, of course, we don't blink an eyelid at the idea of the television, and we've taken things even further, and we've up-leveled all of this technology so that we're now using our phones, even our watches, to view movies and talk to people in live and real time. And all of this, again, is frequency. And is actually really kind of a simple idea. It's an idea that you can take a set of information in one location and you can magically transport it to another location. And we're doing this by sort of bundling it up using this frequency of light and sound. So how would that analogy possibly transpire or transpose into a more medical arena? Well, essentially, you are looking at the information that you are trying to translate or carry as being kind of the optimal healthy body. So if you could find some way of packaging up what your optimal healthy body would look like, and then you can use frequency to bring that through to the individual human. So in this case, if I'm the individual human, my actual body, not so much, partially parts of it are in my physical body, I believe through the nervous system, and parts of it are in this invisible energy field that is surrounding us, and biofield science is busy researching that right now. So that's like the television set, and it is receiving frequencies all the time. It's exposed to them, frequencies from Wi-Fi, from other bits and pieces in my home. They're all over the place, and also frequencies from planet Earth, from Mother Nature herself. And my body is translating those frequencies, so I understand the lived experience in much the same way as your television set is receiving these invisible frequencies, and then you are able to view the actual television program on there. So this idea of frequency medicine would be saying that, rather than creating your TV program, you're actually mapping the optimal healthy human body, and you're sending that information so my individual body can read it and recreate it for me to experience. Really is that simple. Maybe it sounds kind of woo-woo, but then back in the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, having that strange box in the middle of your living room and it being able to give you pictures and sound, well, that was pretty magical and woo-woo as well. So I hope that this has made some sort of vague sense as an analogy, and at the very least is just offering you some food for thought. I'm going to follow this up with some other videos where we're talking about what we mean by information by frequency of light and frequency of sounds. This is sort of an introduction to what will be a much bigger topic to explore. So if you are intrigued by this, then I invite you to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell and pop over and explore the rest of my channel as well. So thank you for watching, and I hope that this gives you a little bit of curiosity and food for thought to take into the rest of your day.